This was something I worked on when I was looking at Wanda, Dali and Wanda and Wang Jianlin. I wrote some articles on Wang Jianlin because he was trying to buy a Hollywood studio and spending all this money in Hollywood, and it attracted a lot of attention both in China and outside China. And people in Congress were writing to the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States, CFIUS, saying that we can't allow Wanda to buy a Hollywood studio to have all this influence on American culture. It's an issue of national security. Within China, as I was writing, he was also had problems with the Chinese government because he was also making Chinese foreign policy. Because when the head of the MPAA, Motion Picture Association of America, Christopher Dodd, spoke to him, and he said, "I'm seeing President Trump. Do you have any message for him?" And Wang Jianlin said, "Tell President Trump that 我没有投资，美国人没有饭吃。If I don't invest, Americans have nothing to eat." So he was basically making it seem like he was responsible for all these American jobs. But again, it was kind of message, I think, a political mistake on his part, and he did that several times. I went through his speeches in China and compared the speeches in China to his speeches in the United States. They're completely different. He was trying to lobby the Chinese government to allow him to have much more independence, much less regulation, saying that I can spread the Chinese message in the U.S. if you give me the power to do so. The Guoyin Qiye, the state enterprises, can't do that. Only I can compete with Huana, Warner Brothers, or Sony, or any of the big studios, because I'm a private company. So he was exceeding his authority, both within China and upsetting people outside China. So I predicted long before it happened that the government would seek to shut him down, which they have done. I think he was an exceptional case because if you look at the letter, the people in Congress, senators, House of Representatives, members, there were 3 letters that went from Congress to the Committee on Foreign Investment in the United States and the General Accounting Office in the United States, and every one of those letters mentioned Wang Jianlin by name, or Wanda by name. That was the only company that was singled out. So he had basically become the enemy of the United States, and he seemed like he was a representative of the Chinese government, in a sense. They didn't even talk about the Chinese government. It was Wang Jianlin and Wanda. So if I were in the Chinese government in high position, I would say this guy is really damaging our reputation very badly, because he's doing all these things for his own company and claiming to do it for China. Because he was going around giving speeches in China saying that I'm the only one who can promote Chinese soft power, I'm the only one who can promote Chinese brand name, China's interests overseas. I'll make films which will make China look good when I take over a studio, that kind of thing. In the United States, of course, what he was saying was, I'm the only one who can provide new jobs for all these Americans. Completely different kind of message. And he was alienating, I think, people in both countries. So I don't think there's anybody quite like Wang Jianlin. The other thing was when Disney set up their Shanghai Disneyland, he said, Disney can't survive in China. I'm going to have 12 theme parks. We have a pack of wolves that are going to destroy Disney. Again, Disney was invited in by the Chinese government. You can't just go ahead and make these claims because it suggests that the government was wrong to invite Disney in. So he was doing a lot of very foolish things because of his ego, his arrogance. But Ma Yun is different, I made the case that Wang Jianlin and Ma Yun are completely different characters, and Ma Yun, who speaks very good English, understands the United States much better than Wang Jianlin does. Doesn't have the military background of Wang Jianlin. Ma Yun is much more acceptable in the United States and hasn't tried in the same heavy-handed way as Wang Jianlin to buy all the Hollywood studios, and he does things much more quietly. And of course, he's had trouble with Ant Financial being turned down in the U.S. in terms of a pay system. But there's a lot of speculation on why Ma Yun actually did step down. And of course, he's denied a lot of he thinks the environment is becoming extremely difficult now in China for entrepreneurs to succeed, and so he's pulling back and setting up a philanthropy. But no, I think Ma Yun is also very much in the public spotlight, as is Pony Ma, Tencent, and all those people. But Wang Zhenlin was a special case because he was so heavy-handed in what he was trying to do, both in China and outside China. His arrogance was really much more strong. So he stands out, or stood out. He's been very quiet recently. I was asked by Forbes magazine to do a piece on Wang Zhenlin because I'd done an earlier piece, and I said there's just not enough information to do anything because he's been keeping a very low profile now. He's not doing what he used to do. So I would single him out. I don't think there's anybody quite like that in China among the business community that is making enemies so clearly.